Says I'm live. Cool. We'll see how this goes. I don't know what's going on with this light. Ugh. I tried to get this to stay before I pressed go live, and then it bounced. Ugh. It won't stay where I want it to stay. This is because the arm is all effect. Why won't you stay? Oh, now I'm knocking stuff off my desk. This is going great. That's going to have to do. That'll do, Peg. That'll do. And now there's a fly. This is going great. You can tell I haven't done this for a while. Hello. It's been a while. How have you been? I haven't made a video or... Hey, Katie. I saw your video pop up in my subscription feed this morning. I'm saving that for lunchtime, your latest video. What was I saying? I'm so easily distracted. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I haven't like done a pre-recorded video or been going live for, I think it's about 6 or 7 weeks. I don't know. And originally it was because I went in a real like nom 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 like Tower Di Marseille like study binge that was kicked off by something really bizarre, like not bizarre, but something really fun. And it just sent me off in Tower Di Marseille land. And I was just like, oh, nom, 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 just like absorbing all the TDM stuff. And then we had scaffolding put up outside our house. I don't know if that had already happened the last time I'd done my last live, but then we were having work done to the exterior of our building, on our roof and the front of the building. And it was quite loud when there is drilling and hammering and all the masonry is being done. A chimney was partially rebuilt, whole other stuff. On top of that, our living room is still leaking. The ceiling is still leaking when it rains. So they haven't worked out where the leak is coming from. And so they have to come back and do some other stuff on the roof. It's so frustrating. I just throw money out the window. Might as well, right? So then it was very loud. And then just struggling to like get myself back into the headspace of video making. Because once you sort of step away from it for a while, like it feels like a really big deal. And also I just keep thinking I really need to get a proper video camera and a really nice webcam and a really decent ring light so that I can actually make videos that not in the style, but of a quality that I want to be able to make, because I'm still doing what I was doing over 6 years ago, which is just filming on my laptop, and it looks bobbins, and I don't really like that it looks bobbins. I feel like I need to like grow up as a YouTuber. So I'm like, well, it's going to look crap, so there's no point in making it. And then on top of that, I'm always like, if I don't have anything interesting to contribute, sometimes I'm like, why? Like, I don't want to make videos for the sake of making them. And that's part of the reason. Oh, great, my dog's butt all up in your faces. I'm sorry. Not me. What are you doing? Hey, boo-boo, you okay? You're just flashing your butthole to the world for all to see. So rude. Hi, Simon. Hi, Sam. Hi, SJ. Hi, Lightning Equus. How are you all? So yeah, I was doing a lot of the lives because I was being very lazy and it's just quick and easy, but also because it's more of a social thing for me to feel connected. Whilst I've just noticed how wonky my lampshade is. I put the lampshade like that when I'm working at my desk when it's dark, because I need the extra light towards my desk because I'm under the eaves, and so I don't get the direct light from the window, and I just need all the light I can get at my desk when I'm sewing, because I'm sewing. I want my sewing to be neat. So I've just distracted myself with the lampshade. It looks like it's a hat. It's like a little hat, a jaunty angle. But like with like pre-recording, I don't know, we're doing that pre-recording videos, I feel like I need to have something to say. And I did actually have like a whole bunch of video ideas, but the mind was willing, but the flesh was weak. It was a combination of, oh my god, all of that hammering and drilling is so noisy, I can't film, or I would like to, but my body is just going meh, No, I do not want to do it. I do not feel like this. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm not filming anything. I'm just going to just go with it. I'm very sometime-ish with my channel. If I feel like making a video, I'll make it. If I don't, I don't. And I've sort of resigned myself to that's just the kind of YouTuber I am. And that's okay. Masha, hello. Good morning, everyone. And Nomi. I love hearing how things are over the pond. Just got your glide. I saw the update anyway. Ali. Hi, yeah, I know, Ali. Sorry. Yeah, I know. I just always, just because so people know who in the other people in the chat who may not know that your name, then I just say the handle. Don't know how to fix the name, which is my email. And I said Laura Aquamarine18 has popped in. Hi, my dear. So yeah, I've been on a real like mad I don't want to use me using ableist language, apologies. It's so ingrained, isn't it? But been on a real like intense word to use, intense tarot study binge fest. So and it was started by, and anyone else in the chat, let me know, have you heard of the Sesamero on TikTok? The channel is Z Manzilla, like Z dot Manzilla. Actually, I'll type it in there for you. I think it's this, Z Manzilla. And he calls it the Sesamero. He's only been doing it for a few weeks. I caught the TikToks up on, they were being shared over on Twitter by like a bunch of like tarot and witchy people that I follow on Twitter. And it's just amazing. So I saw he'd only been doing it for about 3 days when this was shared on Twitter. He's been doing it about 4 or 5 weeks now. So what he did is he went to like, I can't remember where he went to. He went to a store and he bought 3 packs of Sesame Street flashcards, one with numbers, one with shapes, and one with colors, I believe. And what he did is they're double-sided. They have things on either side. On both sides, I should say. And what he does is he does 3 card readings. He's sort of built his own deck, his own Sesame Street Tarot, using these cards to make up this deck. And yeah, he does 3 card readings on TikTok. So I saw this go up on Twitter, someone I follow, I can't remember who it was, and they said, this guy is the real deal. He shows you, like, this is how you read. Like, this is proper, like, very sort of French, or like, you know, that sort of Enrique Enriquez, Camelia Elias, Yoav Bendov, that kind of school of, like, Marseille kind of reading, that sort of free-flowing, which is how I have grown to read quite with pip decks. I read more traditionally with like Smith Waite based decks, but when I'm reading a Marseille or a pip deck, I read that way. And he is amazing. He's now been doing it for several weeks. So like every Sunday night, I will like watch the videos he's uploaded throughout the week, and it is a lesson. It is an exercise in really great interpretation of colors and numbers and shapes, of creating narratives with just 3 cards that aren't even tarot. And what he's done is, they obviously, because it's they're children's flashcards, you have like black hexagon and pink octagon and stuff like that. And so what he's done is he's built his own way of reading. So he's built his own system. So a triangle will mean a certain thing, a circle means a certain thing, a pentagram means a certain thing, you know, a banana or an apple will mean a certain thing, and then it comes to numbers. And he's even got videos where he explains how he sort of set up his Sesamero system, and he's just doing it as he goes along. But not only that, he's also a really great lesson in how to be really compassionate with clients. This man does really great readings about all sorts of subjects, and he gets so many requests, and he can't do all of them. He can only do a few a day. He does make very clear that it's for entertainment purposes only, but he gives solid advice, really great advice. he puts on a voice. The voice that he's using is not his real voice. He puts on this very sort of New York, New Jersey kind of voice. He's huskily spoken, but he's putting on this sort of New Yorker, New Jersey kind of thing. It's so much fun. And he's done so many beautiful heartfelt readings for people about all sorts of things about teenagers coming out to their family, maybe starting transitioning if they are trans, dealing with things like just like grief, like just, oh my goodness, this guy. So that I was like, this is amazing. So then the funny thing was, when I stumbled on that, I remember it was a Monday when I saw this. I had been playing with this. Now, I can't remember when I did my last live if I had actually mentioned that I had received this. It's the Pathfinder Oracle from Skull Garden. I did end up ordering it from the States because it's no longer stocked over on Little Red Tarot, kicking myself for not buying it when it was at Little Red Tarot, because this deck, including shipping and taxes, cost me about £60, which is a lot because it's like 52 cards or something. But I had been playing with this deck. It's a square deck for those of you that may not have seen it or only seen it in passing. And it has, each corner has like an opposing, so we've got the, how do I explain? We've got passive and active. So we've got passive and active and positive and negative. Hang on. Yeah, so this filled one is positive, so it's like a full moon. I would call it dark moon is negative, and then active and passive. So the filled one is active and the empty one is passive. The way I choose to see it is a bit more how Kelly Fitz reads this deck, which is rather than positive and negative, I see it as sort of what is in the light and what is in the shadow, rather than using like good and bad, and then still keep the passive and receptive. And it's really beautiful. I mean, I love is it I never remember if it's Andrew or Andy Schwartz. Andrew Schwartz. It's not Schwartz. There's no CH. It's Andrew Schwartz. I can never remember, which is weird. I now have every single one of his decks. And I had been using this quite intuitively. I've just been laying it down, playing with it. I should do this. You can see I've been sort of coming up with different ways to read it. So you could read it as a block, and then I was sort of you could read it as a, you know, it's meant to be read as a diamond. He calls it a diamond shape. Obviously it's a square, but you would read it like this, and you can sort of create, or you could do like paths. You know, you could do sort of and read what's going on with the connections. It's just, you know, what's connecting. Like if I was doing a 4-card reading, I could then read what's convening here in the middle. Really, I was just playing with it because it arrived on the Monday. So I just went ham practicing with it. And that evening is when I saw the Z Manzilla thing, the TikTok video. And videos, I should say. I watched a whole bunch of them, and I started just doing his 3 cards. He does 3 cards. The first card is the problem card, the second card is the short-term solution, and the third card is the long-term solution or the long-term outcome. And so I was just doing that with these cards. Obviously there's no real system to this, and I was just doing it, and I was just looking up, and I was using the book, because this is the first deck that Andrew Schwartz has provided a wee booklet with, which I was greatly appreciative of. And yeah, I was just doing these 3-card readings, and then the next day I was watching, I don't know, I think, you know, when you go on to YouTube and you press home and it takes you to like rando recommendations rather than your subscription feed. And there was a video of a reading example from Marilyn in the City. I've since seen that Marilyn in the City has been interviewed by, who was it who interviewed her? Justin Michael, I think it was. And she's a pip card reader. She reads Marseille and she reads the Italian decks, and it was an example reading, and she's really good. She's been reading tarot since the 70s, and she knows her onions, as we like to say. And yeah, and then I was like, oh wow, so I ended up binging a bunch of her videos, and then she showed an example of the tirage en croix, which is a French style of reading, which was first, who was it? I can't remember who, Paul Marteau, or Marteau, I believe, is the guy, the French cartomancer from the early 20th century, I believe, who came up with this tarot spread. And it's in the French style where you read only the trumps. So then I started playing with that. And then I follow Serge Pirotte. Is it Serge Pirotte on Instagram? And he had posted something, a spread, and I was reading his spread Instagram post, and he always talks about how he shows his math, as Tom Benjamin likes to say, shows the working. So there's a few people I follow on Instagram who do 3-card spreads that I really enjoy following because they show their working, how they reached that conclusion. And he had a link, and it was something to do with a blog, and I was like, oh, I had no idea that he had a blog, because blogs aren't so much a thing these days. We don't really read blogs as much now as we used to 10 years ago. People don't blog as much as they did 10 years ago. And then I started binge reading Serge's blog. There's a lot of Lenormand stuff on there, because he also does a lot of Lenormand, but I ended up reading nearly every tarot post. And then he did his take on the tirage en croix, because most of the examples of tirage en croix on YouTube are in French, obviously, right? Because it's a French spread. But so Simon did ask me, he wanted to see like what the deal was with the tirage en croix. So what I was doing is I was separating my decks into the trumps and the pips, and using just the trumps for these readings. I bought a couple more decks. So I had ordered the Multi Marseille by Tom Benjamin. Oh my God, this is my new favorite Marseille. That's it. I have found the perfect Marseille, traditional style Marseille, because I love my Tarot Serene. That's like my baby. I love my Tarot Serene. And my Triomphe de la Luna, Paradoxical Rose. They're like my babies for like more out there. And I guess the Polka is pretty fun. But like those are the two that I use the most when I'm not wanting a traditional Marseille. But the Multi Marseille by Tom Benjamin arrived, and finally we have a full deck, because there is the Black Power Tarot, but that's not drawn in a traditional way. It uses famous black people in and it's just a trump. It's a trumps only. Whereas this is drawn in, it's basically the Jean Noblet. It's the same size as the Jean Noblet, so it's a really good size for my little hands. And see, one of the videos I wanted to do was to do a video, a walkthrough, and just a review of this deck, redrawn. The pips are the pips, but when it comes to, we've got the baton, and we've got a darker skinned toned hand, which I really like. We've got what appears to be a king who has half a leg missing, whether that's from birth or whether he is an amputee. I just really appreciate seeing someone with a disability. We've got it's just so nice to see people of color, or as Tom was saying, people of the global majority. This person looks like they could be Asian, I think Southeast Asian. Really just, yeah. I love the colours as well. Tom's gone for slightly less garish colours. They're a bit more jewel toned. So this is as far as like vintage or retro, what's the word? Redrawn old school style Marseilles. This is it. I'm done. This is my, if we get, I want to see more. I'd love to see more multicultural Marseille decks in like, and there are some arguments to say that, it's, some people don't like that because they think that, well, it's still rooted in, this sort of colonialist framework. But some of, tarot kind of is, in a sense, unless, you look back to like the Mamluk cards, which were actually, Middle Eastern. So I guess ultimately they came from, I believe, original, like what the Visconti decks were based on, the Mamluk deck. Anyway, we're not here for a tarot history lesson, are we? But yeah, I'm just like, I would love to see more like this. If there are more decks out there like this in the future and I'm able to afford to buy them. Here we have a person with vitiligo. I mean, like, yes, more of this, please. I love it. 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 So this is, but until that day, this is the one. This is the one. It has pipped my Jean Noblet by Jean-Claude Flornoy as my top classic deck. And it's the same, pretty much the same size, which is cool. But I also wanted like a fun pip deck, like a more modern pip deck. Because I had the Christmas and the birthday money, I went ham. I was like, well, I've got the money, I might as well spend it. So then I also bought the I've made pouches for them, by the way, and these will be, I'll be having these sized pouches in my shop going forward as well. So people that have the Multi Marseille or a similar size deck, this one's mine because I had it and I needed to make the pattern a little bit bigger. It was a bit tight fitting on my copy, so it's not good enough for the shop, but it's good enough for me. And then I made a cute one for the deck that I'm about to show you, which is matched to the back of the Kawaii Tarot, and it's the mass market version, which comes, and I know everyone complains about it, the two separate tuck boxes. Like, it's bad enough when they just do the two piles, but to put them in two separate tuck boxes gives me so much rage. First of all, the waste of packaging materials. Second of all, just from a practical standpoint. Third of all, from just like a design standpoint, just what? No. I hates it. So I was like, immediately I was like, I have to make a pouch for it. And I also, the corners were like all over the shop. They were shoddy and like core or not corner rounded properly. So I took my chunky corner rounder and I redid the corners, and they're a bit more chunky. They're a bit more smooth and rounded. I used an 8mm or a 9mm, which I think suits the artwork more, because the artwork is very round and soft and kawaii. So yeah, so I have this, although this is at 8 and just is at 11 for this deck. So, but it doesn't matter. But what I had been doing with this and with this, and with my Marshmallow Marseille, my Tarot Serene, was separating them into the pips and the trumps and doing practice readings. Because then what I was doing with the tirage en croix was getting the quintessential card. And sometimes if you work out what the quintessential card is, sometimes it's already in the reading, right? Because you're picking between a number between 1 and 22. So then I'm like, well, I think I would rather just get another set of trump cards and pick out the quintessential card from there. And then if I was looking at Serge Pirotte's tirage en croix example, where he put in like a couple of extra cards, where he's got like the long-term future card. I think sometimes he pulls a shadow card from the bottom of the deck, but then in like a couple of extra cards where he's got like the long-term future card. I think sometimes he pulls a shadow card from the bottom of the deck. But then if he wants more information on those 4 positions in the spread, or 5 positions if he's using a near future spread card, he then goes around and lays a pip for each position as well. So a lot of my pip and Marseille decks have been separated. This one I've mixed back up together, I believe, because I was doing a tarot exercise with these 2 decks again, and I was using this one for doing some tarot study with one of Tom Benjamin's courses. So anyway, I'm just gonna have a quick what am I even talking about? I feel like I'm just going there's another deck and there's some books coming as well. Okay, let's just have a wee look. Meow 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 meow. So Masha is here. Hello Masha, my love. Crazy weather, 30 degrees in the day. Next day is 80. My goodness. You haven't seen the Multi Marseille, Masha? I feel like you would like it. It's on Make Playing Cards. I'll try to remember to put all these links down below. Katie's a measure. I thought you were beautiful because I used the ribbon you wrapped my present in and wore it in my hair. Oh, that's so cute. What colour is it, Katie? Masha says, I love separating my TDM decks. Wait, 2 tux boxes. This makes no sense. Right, Laura? Honestly, where's the, can I see if I can find, where did I put the box? I don't know if I just threw it out in apps. Oh no, it's here. It's on my bookshelf still. So it makes zero sense, honestly. It's cute, right? It's cute. You open it, there's a book, and at first I thought the book was stuck, like the Neo Tarot that has the book stuck to the back. I thought this was stuck, glued in, and I was about to Hulk smash, because it's not only do we have this situation, this is stuck. I'm sorry, what? But no, it's fine. It just slides out. It just, the back cover slides into a little belly band. But yeah, what is this? No. And you can see where it was a lot more, the edges were a lot sharper. They were a bit more like this. The edges were more, the edges were more like the edges on this one, where they're a bit more pointy. And so can you see the roundedness of them? I actually think this suits them better. So because I did start rounding it with the smaller corner rounder, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go chunky. So yeah, I've really been enjoying this, although I've been doing a lot of exercises with the court cards. And when I'm reading 3 cards or 3 rows of 3, I find the courts in this one are not very useful because I like to use directionality, and these are obviously just faces. But sometimes, when you start to overthink the meanings of the cards, this is really good to just get you out of that and just strip it right back to, and it's basically a Smith-Waite pip, because as you can see here, you've got the 9 of Swords, and it's reminiscent of the 9 of Swords and the Smith-Waite. So it's like I'm going to call it a Smith pip. A Smith pip. There's the 8 of Cups, where you've got someone sort of walking away from the. I don't know what the halo bit is though. That confuses me. But yeah, I mean, oh my god, it's so cute. The majors are just so simple. I love it. Look at this for the 6 of Cups. It's quite clever. Although I believe it's the 9 of Wands actually has 8 wands on it, and this deck has been out for 2 or 3 years and they've not amended it. I love the Devil. The coins are super cute, the pentacles, and the book. I really quite rate the book as well. It's good. So it gives me bit 8-bit gaming vibes as well. I don't know. It's cute. And look at the Wheel of Fortune. It's a Ferris wheel. So does anyone else have this? And the Hierophant is a holy bibli. So yeah, I went nuts for donuts on the pip decks. What was I talking about? Oh, I'm showing things. I'm basically talking you through what I've been up to the last few weeks, other than listening to a lot of drilling and hammering, which sounds exciting. I could hear a lot of, that's not a euphemism, literal drilling and hammering, which is not fun. Yes, I'm much better now. Always fun to be in Kelly's chat, so I'm popping in for a little while before my bedtime. Yeah, because it's late in Oz. Meow, meow, meow. Brian, go chunky. Yeah, let's go chunky. Go chunky. Go chunky. Go chunky. Go chunky. Yeah, get that. There's the new Kawaii. Do you mean the one with all the animals? The Smith-Waite one, Simon? Because I saw that and I was like, I've put that straight on my wish list. Although I have to calm my tits with the I need to save a chunk of my Christmas and birthday money, because I want to buy a bookshelf to go in at the top of the stairs in the hallway, so that I can get all of my decks out of those boxes and put them up there, and then they're out of the sun because the hallway is dark at the top of the stairs. So then it's perfect, right? They're out of the sun, they're all out of boxes, I can get to them, and then I have room for more decks. because I've got those 2 boxes. I'll probably store other stuff in those 2 boxes for now, but I've gone from not buying any decks to wanting all the decks again, but you know, it is what it is. I received the Sakura Spring Tarot last week. I've not heard of that one. Oh no, actually didn't Simon do a walkthrough of that one? Have you seen the new? Yeah, I have seen the new Kawaii one. It's so cute with the little unicorns and the little lemmitos. I love cute stuff. I do love cute stuff. Like today, I realised I'm embodying the rainbow side of my personality. It's either goth, although I was wearing dark purple lipstick earlier. It's either like goth or like pink and lavender leopard print with like insane pink sequined weird art jewelry and like disco holographic nails and like there is no in between. It's one or the other. They're both inside me. I love cute stuff and I love spooky stuff, and I especially love spooky cute stuff or cute spooky stuff. Anyway. Oh, Anna, hello, my love. I was in the chat. Got to go to work soon, but hanging out a little bit. Lovely to see you here. My spouse, listening across the room, says, "I'll build her a bookshelf. Where does she live?" Could they not tell from my accent that I am very firm? Well, I guess I could be a Brit abroad. I guess. What have we got? That's very sweet, though. What was that? I saw Natalie Schumacher is at 9:30 here in South Australia. Cool. So it's evening time. Checking I've not missed anyone's massages. I was just going to say this has to be up there with the Neo Tarot on list of weirdest packaging decisions. Like, who is making these decisions, Laura? Fire them. They are so fired if they were working for me. I'm so fussy when it comes to design stuff. I don't know if it's because it was design is something I'd formally studied. So I'm just like, I cannot deal with bad design. I cannot, whether it's aesthetic or practical, I just cannot. So I'm going to show you one more deck and then I'll get into the books because I just realized I'm just chatting bollocks. So anyway, yes. So I then bought my first ever Trumps only deck. Granted, obviously, any deck you can just turn into a Trumps only deck by separating them. But I was getting a bit annoyed because I was sometimes doing readings with the 2 separate, with sometimes just the Trumps. But then I was doing lots of tarot study and tarot practice. And then I was having to shuffle them back in and shuffle them. And I know I could be like, keep these ones separate and keep these ones together. But sometimes you just want to use the deck that you've separated into 2 or vice versa. And you just need to just use that deck because that's the deck that is calling to you, right? You just have to obey the deck that is calling to you. So then I bought this deck I saw a couple of years ago. And I realized it was Masha that bought it a couple of years ago. And I'd seen it on her channel. And once I ordered it, I did a search for it. And I was like, oh, that's where I saw it. Because I'd seen Masha's video pop up. And it was, when it's red, the line underneath is filled red, and then I looked and I had clicked the thumbs up on it 2 years ago. It's like, this is where I must have seen it. So it's the Tower Di Marseille by Victoria Dorche. Or Dorche. I don't know. Victoria, she's French. And she did this beautiful. I'm still unsure of what's going on with La Pendu, who is not upside down, but these appear to be trees, although some have said these could be hills. But then what is going on here, I don't know. I keep thinking this is water because it looks like waves. It's not showing up on camera, but there's like little white bits that look like little white crests of waves. But so I don't know what's going on there. But it's such, again, this was another video I was like, I wanted to do a little walkthrough because there are not that many videos about this one that are in English. They're mostly in French. I love that the people are made out of midnight sky. My camera is really crap. The cardstock is scrumptious. It's really scrumptious. I love the little butt on this person. But I love that the world is made of the galaxies and has pink hair. I mean, hello. I just love it. I just love it so much. I've been doing tirage en croix practice readings with this one. When I say I've been doing loads of pip readings. I mean practice readings. I was watching loads of Marilyn in the City. Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, her channel, and just getting really into like practice readings. Because I'm looking over there because I've got my week ahead spread that I did this morning over there. I leave that laid out on my little tarot trolley. And I'm using this month, I'm using the Numinous Tarot with the Liminal Spirits Oracle. So that's what my reading is with. But for like all my practice readings, I've been really getting back into, I don't know, I'm just obsessed. And it all started with the Sesamero. I must remember to link it down below because it is, and look at these backs. Aren't they just so much fun? Here's the title card, actually. I just accidentally shuffled it in. I love the like little apple rosy cheeks. Oh my God, my camera is bobbins. But the cardstock is really yummy. It's almost like if you had a whole deck like this, I don't know how thick it would be, but it's quite flexible with just the 22 cards. But because it's a trumps only, I think it benefits from having that thicker cardstock, because often when I'm separating out my other decks, that are in thinner cardstock, you can end up with a bunch of 22 cards, which is like this thin. And I like to riffle shuffle. I still do riffle shuffle it, but it's a little more tricky. Where have I put my marshmallow and my serene? Where did I put them? Oh, I don't know where I've put things. My workspace is a mess at the moment. I was like, why is my workspace a mess? I've only just gone through and organized all the boxes and all of my desktop. Why is it such a mess? Do you know when the last time I actually went through and organized everything? August last year. What? I was like, when I was thinking about it, so no, actually that was the end of August 2021. And here's me thinking, oh, that wasn't that long ago. It's gone so quick. I'm like, no wonder it's a bloody mess. I need to go back through and like organize everything again. Where did I put them? Are they in my sorry, it's bugging me. I don't know which box I've got them in. Did I put them back in here? I know I saw them this morning because I was picking out my Numinous Tarot to read. But if I show you I've separated out these ones. I think they're still separato. Yes, separato. That's not a word. You can see it's not that much thinner. It is a bit thinner. It's still separated. You can see the riffle shuffler's bow, where I like to riffle shuffle. But these two are really good because obviously they're sister decks. The Tarot Serene and the Marshmallow Marseille, because if I'm doing a majors only and then I work out what the quintessential card is and that card is already in the reading, rather than just thinking, oh well, that's also the message for this reading, this is the quintessential card, I can pull out the other major from the other deck, and because the artwork is synchronous and they're the same size, it works really well in the reading. It's not like, anyway. Am I even making sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm just like, I've not done a live for ages, and now I'm just like, well, verbal diarrhea all over the shop. That was a charming visual word picture I just gave you there. Sorry. Let's just have a wee look at the chat again. Casual show and tell, says Katie. I don't know, it feels like a bit of a manic show and tell because I'm like, I've had a lot of caffeine this morning and I've been trying to like focus on like, I need to amend a couple of pouch patterns. I need to try and get the final double pouch pattern like just so that I can start cutting out double pouches, but I haven't quite got it just right. And it has to be just right because that's just the way I roll. And then like I need to adjust the multi-Marseille one because it was too tight, and then I made it a little bit bigger, and then it was too big, and I'm like, so I need to go somewhere in between, and then I need to redo I made a pouch for my True Heart Intuitive because that's comes in quite a big box, and it doesn't have a pouch come with it. It doesn't have a tuck box, so I thought people might quite like and I wanted one for my own, and I matched the colors to like the back of the deck. But this is just a wee bit too tight again. I think what it is, when I was first making pouches, I was using craft felt, which I think I can't remember what the thickness was. So when I was adding in an extra few, like however much I was adding in on top of the deck's measurements, it worked out fine, and the pouches would fit fine with the decks. But because I'm using a different kind of felt, it's actually thicker. It's a felt made from recycled plastic bottles, and it's thicker generally. Some of the colors are a little. The thickness of the colors varies, but for the most part they're thicker than the craft felt that I was using, and I'm finding that the amount that I was adding in on top of a deck's dimensions it's still coming a bit too tight, so I'm having to redo a few of my patterns. They still fit, and it fits nice and snug, but I just want to add a couple millimeters in just to give it a wee bit more wiggle room. Which reminds me, actually, because loads of people have been buying my standard size tarot pouches, and then you're trying to shove some pretty chunky decks in them, and I know the pouches are meant to fit tightly, but not necessarily that tight. And then some of you are shoving like booklets in there and like crystals, and I'm like, oh hell. So what I've done is I'm going to have 2 standard sized pouches. I've already cut and sewn up a bunch already of and what I'm calling them a standard plus size. So you'll still have my I've cut a bunch of standard ones at the weekend, my usual standard that I need to sew. So when I do updates, I'm going to try and have half standard size that I've been selling for bloody ages, and then half standard plus. And that just means they are a hair taller, a wee bit deeper. That sounds rude. A bit deeper. The depth wider, and a tiny bit longer. So if you want to put your deck, standard size deck in its tuck box, it should probably fit better. If you want it, like I realized that my new sized pouch, like my standard sized pouch will fit the This Might Hurt Tarot really quite quite snugly. But you wouldn't be able to get the chunky book in, right? But with the standard plus, I can get this, and I can get the book in as well, which is fine, because like this is a great box. But I don't want to take this out. If I was going on holiday, or if I was going to visit someone, or if I was just wanting to put it in my handbag for the day and I was going out, I know I'm not going anywhere but we're not going to go there today. But that's why I originally made one for my my Marshmallow Marseille, which I still ended up selling every time I make them because these get dinged up. This started getting smashed on the corners in my bag, and I didn't want that, so I'd rather just them be in a smooshy pouch that protects them. So yes, there'll be more room, so you could just have this pouch in this deck in the pouch, the standard plus, and then you might want to put in something else. I don't know. Anyway, why am I talking about pouches? I was talking about patterns, then I started talking about pouches because squirrel. Side quest. I can't remember what I was talking about. Why is my brain like this? I kind of have actually a good idea why my brain is like this, but I was trying to explain where I had been. I was talking about that was it. I was talking about the Trumps versus the Pips and separating up stuff, decks. I can't remember. I'm just gonna have a look at the chat. Mew 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 mew. Happy Monday night to you from Newey, dear Natalie. Victoria Dorche has been my cutest TDM for a couple of years now. It's adorable. It's so adorable. Yeah, some old Marseille decks have an upright pendu. Yeah, I have seen a couple of those actually, Anna. I was just wondering, is that a misprint on the creator's part, and then Victoria, the artist, has sort of created an upright pendu as a sort of a nod to that, like the way that Tom Benjamin has deliberately put in some sort of spelling mistakes and sort of deliberate like miscolorings and things and wonkiness in the borders and things in his deck, so that it makes it feel more like an old school deck. I know it's my bedtime, but lovely to see you and everyone in the chat. Night, Katie. You take care. Heather, hello. Looks like jelly beans. What look like jelly beans? Oh, I don't. I love jelly beans. Oh, I don't have any. 1650s Vival has Le Pendu upright. Ah, okay. Music. I love Marilyn. She's so experienced and a great teacher, isn't she? I love her. I've just been binging her channel. Tycon, hello. Behind the Veil, hello. I cannot say something. Serene from Tower Di Marseille is pronounced more like Sirene. It just helps everyone who owns that deck. I hope it comes. No, it's not annoying at all. I never know if it's Sirene or Siren or Sirene. It depends, because I always get mixed up between the French, the Spanish, and the Italian pronunciations of the Sirene. So I always say every version under the sun whenever I'm talking about it. Not annoying at all. It's better to know how these things are pronounced. Sirene is even more correct. Yeah, Sirene. See, I say Sirene a lot. Sirene, Serena, Sirene. Sirene on that. Meow, 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 meow. Sometimes size matters. Sometimes size does matter. Hey, Chris, you right? Hey, up, lad. The accent grave. The accent grave? Oh, the accent, because of the... Yeah, that's the thing that throws me, because I'm like, it's not Siren or Siren. Caro Siren. Anyway, because it isn't the creator, aren't they Spanish speakers? So in my head, I'm like, it would be the Spanish way. I don't know. Oh my God, I'm so hot. I don't mean like I'm so hot. I mean like temperature-wise, I'm so hot. Oh, also, I look. Baby size Lenormand, not baby size, the Lenormands. They're also coming. I'm like to my shop, not like again. Why do I keep innuendo in my? Clearly, that's just where my mind is today. But I'm gonna have these are just practice ones for my own. But I made a bridge size for my little Pirotte Vin Lenormand. So that's a bridge size, and then the standard playing card size is the standard playing card size poker size. I get so mixed up with playing card sizes. And this has got my Story and Color Lenormand by Kelly Fitzgerald at The Truth in Story. So it's a little bit bigger. It's a bit wider. It's just a bit wider than the other. They're pretty much, but this isn't going to fit in this one, but this one would fit in that one, obviously. So this has got this in Kelly's deck. Well, I am Kelly, but the other Kelly fits his deck. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just made it to match all the. It's literally got all the colors. It's got the purple with the thread, the yellow, the red, the green. It's got all the colors of the deck in there. So yeah, that's because people have been asking me when I'm going to do Lenormand size pouches. I had originally been doing like upright Lenormand pouches with Velcro, but oh my God, they're so labor intensive because the Velcro is a pain. You can't glue it on because it won't stay. So you have to stitch it on, and stitching the Velcro patches on is it's really tricky because it keeps snagging on the thread as you sew, and it's really long-winded, pain in the tits process. So I'm just like, I guess I could do studs, but I'm always wary to put like metal stud things that with anything that's going to go up against cards because I don't want it to rub. So anyway, yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say after what I was saying before. Your famous purchase has sent me down a rabbit hole of crafting. I've been making a bunch of tarot storage devices that are inspired by your designs. My local craft store, thanks you. Amazing. Cool down, Holly. Time for me to start work and stop procrastinating. Nice to say hi. Lovely for you to stop by, Laura. Lovely to see you, and hopefully speak to you again soon. So yeah, all that is to say, I've been in a Tower Di Marseille. Oh, that was it. Like absolute mad. No, stop using that word. Like intense study phase. So then there's this exercise in Tarot on Earth, and it also turns up in Tom Benjamin's Tarot Di Marseille summer school that he did a couple of years ago, Tarot Di Marseille class, where you look at the numerology of tarot, or just numerology, different systems of numerology, and you create like a grid. I actually drew it out in my study book, but and then you basically, you can do Pythagorean numerology, biblical numerology. You're supposed to look at loads of different systems and loads of different tarot authors, write out all the different meanings for all of the numbers, go through them and pick the ones that you like the most and create your own numerology system for the TDM. And this is something I did ages ago with Tarot on Earth, something I did a couple of years ago again with the Tarot Di Marseille summer school. And I was like, because I'd been on a Smith-Waite thing the end of last year, beginning of this year, I really found myself wanting soft, squishy, comfortable, cute, nourishing, nurturing decks. I was feeling very, very fragile at the beginning of this year. I was in really like fragile headspace, feeling very emotionally sensitive, and I felt like I needed those sort of soft decks, and I was using my Tarot of the Magical Forest and using the Empty Cup Oracle, and like just really soft decks. But the problem was, because I read them differently, when I started going back on this Tarot Di Marseille kick, I realized it was like confusing. The two different ways that I read started to like, I couldn't pass them out. And I was like, and I realized it had been a good 2 years since I'd really looked at my own TDM numerology. So I went full nerd and I created spreadsheets in Google Docs. And, I took out every tarot book that I own, which is not an insignificant number of books. And I put what the numerology, if it had a numerology breakdown, not all of them had numerology breakdowns. If they had a numerological breakdown in them for what each number means, I put that in the spreadsheet. I put in all my original research in. So like I said, Pythagorean, Chinese numerology, biblical numerology, all of that stuff, Tom Benjamin's own thoughts on numerology, all that went in there. And then I haven't picked out my new favorites, but what I did then is I got this little notebook that I just had knocking around because I have loads of like cute little notebooks. I don't have any big like spiral bound proper journaly notebooks, but I've still got quite a few of these like little staple or stitch bound ones. And what I did, because I'd started writing, this is the Sesamero. This is where it all started. I've been writing notes, watching videos, writing notes. So I've got TikTok, Zemanzilla, Sesamero, 8th of the 3rd, 22. So you can see that's when this was the start of my descent into TDM. So it's been about 5 weeks. And then I've got Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, when she was talking about her 3-card spread and how she does the quintessential cards. We've got the Tirage en Croix with Oswald Worth. So it was Oswald Worth that came up with the Tirage en Croix, maybe. Or then Paul Marteau did something with it and adjusted it. So then I looked at Marilyn and the Cities, Tirage en Croix, and then I added the Pirotte's. Serge Pirotte's notes from his blog. Anyway, so yeah, I started going through that spreadsheet and writing out, not my like passing out all the main juicy bits for each number. So I did 1 to 10, and it's all just because if I do something digitally, I also then need to do it by hand, but this isn't full like sentences. I'm just taking the main words. Oh my god. So then I did that from 1 to 10. Then I did another spreadsheet created another page, and I did it for the actual suits. So, you know, the wands or batons, the cups, the pentacles. But I was also putting in like Smithwaite stuff in here as well, because some of the books that I were using were Smithwaite based. Then I did it for the actual elements and what it means to, you know, water is different to a cup, you know what I mean? Even though cups represent water, depending on what system that you, for most part, I think it's the swords and the batons, or the swords and the wands, that tend to get switched as opposed to the others. I have seen other people switch the pentacles out for fire and stuff like that as well. Like, it really depends on the system that you're using. I think the point is find a system that works for you and stick to it, rather than like constantly mixing them up. So then I did it for that. And then I started doing all the courts. I went through the courts, queen, ace. And then I did it for all the courts combined with the suit, and all the numbers combined with their suits. It's all written. And then all the courts. Yeah, I just basically, I've done that to the, oh, actually, tell a lie. I've still got a few more to fill in because I ran out of steam. All that is to say, I've been doing a lot of studying and defining all of how I pass out the system. Now, the plan is that I'm then going to take that spreadsheet and this booklet that I've sort of distilled, and I'm going to do booklets for Smithwaite and TDM, because I do view them kind of differently, do read them differently, because the TDM is sort of all of that, a lot of the esoteric stuff that got put on top of it. And you can't really avoid that when you're looking at the pip cards of the Smithwaite. They give a very distinct, because it's based on, you know, that got the Golden Dawn, Lord, the Lord of Miss, whatever, you know, all the different lords or whatever. Tom Benjamin has a video on it somewhere from a few years ago. Go check it out. It's good. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do, because I want a little white book for myself, for my own meanings, and then a medium white book, because I've got binders full of stuff, but I haven't distilled that information. It's full of like research. So what I want to do is I want to then get a book kind of this size, and one side is going to be like this, where it's going to have some spreads in it that I like to use, and then the other side you flip it over and it's going to have, but rather than have, you know, a whole page for one, it's going to be like distilled down to my meanings. And I'm going to do that for the Smithwaite and the TDM. And then I'm going to get like a traveler's notebook and have like a larger, more expanded, long form written version, as well as my big folder. So then I've got three options, right? If I'm out and about during the day and I just want to freshen up, I've got my little book. If I'm going away somewhere one day, maybe at some point, someday, somewhere, I don't know, or I'm going to visit someone, I might want my medium white book. And then here at home, I've got my big fuck off folder full of stuff. Wow, that was a lot of nonsense, wasn't it? That's basically all to say that's what I've been up to. And I still haven't showed the books. Numerology and spreadsheets. I think I'm on the turn. I want a copy of that little notebook. Masha, do you know what? When I finalize it, if I can work out how to digitize it or like type up my own version, I might be able to do that. We'll see. But it's personal. It's personal to me. I don't know if it's any, but yeah, I've got the swords to do and 2 of the cups courts to write out. I might do that later this evening, and then it's done. Also, there was a really great video by Alexandra Mustrak, who has the Lenormand. He's got like Lenormand decks, and he's got tarot books and Lenormand books. He's got a channel, and he does mostly like Lenormand videos, but he's got a video from a couple of years ago where he does how he reads Marseille, and he does I want to put that in here as well, because he reads in a way I've not seen anyone do. It's really interesting with the way he spreads out the cards, and then he asks the client, to pick the cards, and then he lays them out, and that's the sort of the theme of the reading, and then he pulls all the cards back, and then he shuffles them, and then he spreads them out again, then he gets someone to pick 3 cards, and then he lays those, like, it's so cool. And then he picks out the quintessential card, and then he adds cards to the side and to the bottom, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. It's so cool. So I don't know if I've got enough room in this book to fit it in, because it's quite a long-winded process, but I might have to put it in my binder. But when I do my final like little white book, it will go in there. Thanks, a great idea that those 2 books can be wondering, do you have more oracle cards to show us of the deck you're making? Of the deck I'm making? Oh, do you mean the angel one that I was bastardizing? Because I haven't done anything on that for the last couple of years. No, actually, tell a lie. I did some in 2020. I did do some extra stuff on it in 2020, in the summer of 2020. I do remember doing some backgrounds and stuff on it, but I haven't done any more on that. Was I making an oracle deck? Are you thinking of someone else? That's the only one that I can think of. Rona, hello. Melodic, hello. That's me right very now. I'm all super cute adorable decks at the moment, says Masha. Lenny Pouches. Yes, Lenny Pouches. Not that you need to. What's this? Not that you need to do more work to do. What's that? Oh, spreadsheets. Yeah, I am. So yeah, I went mad on the spreadsheets. Maybe that's the one, or tarot deck. Either way. Yeah. Do you know what? I was really inspired by you when you were doing your own tarot deck, when you were redrawing you were doing one, and I really liked the idea of doing at least maybe a mages for myself on my watercolor paper, but like small size, like sketching out I would probably actually use transfer paper and sketch out the Jean Noblet, and then just do. I really wanted to do. I don't think I have it in me to, because I'm really bad at starting stuff and never finishing it. That's like the story of my life. But I really like the idea of doing like a classic Noblet, but it's all dog heads. They're all dogs, but they've got people bodies. Well, they'd have paws still, but like, and then it would all be in like really cute pastel colors with like hints of neon. Like, would have paws still, but like, and then it would all be in like really cute pastel colors with like hints of neon, like my artwork is usually. Yeah, you did just the number pips, I remember, but they're not all coloured in yet. But I just thought you were doing such a great job of that, Anna. But yeah, I really like the idea of doing like all just like the and I was gonna call it the Jean Doglet, because I would type it. You know this word, do people ever use this word for dogs? Doglet. But Noblet is spelled this. So if you say doglet but pronounce it like Noblet, it would be Doglet. So it'd be the Jean Doglet. But like, I'm like, I always have so many good ideas, but I just don't have the fucking energy, the follow through, the impetus to like get it done. But how cool, because there's not enough dog decks, let's be honest. It pisses me off. There's 12 million bloody cat decks. Don't get me wrong, cats are fine, but I'm a dog person. I want a decent dog deck. I want a dog lay. Simon, it would be like me coming back here in 10 years and going, I finally did it. Maybe the trick is to just do a majors only and start there. Let's show these books, because I've already been on for an hour and I'm going to need to go make lunch at some point. So I'm going to drink some water. Because, oh my God, it's been a while since I've talked this much. So first not only did I get this tarot deck all the way from France, it is such an immense commitment, isn't it, Anna? Which is like, maybe I'll just do a majors. And then I'm like, well, it's a French, it's fine. You just read with the majors, it's fine, the trumps. So I also got from France, I ordered the Seeing the World by Jean-Claude Flornoy. I ordered this from the website. This was translated. I can't remember when this was translated and annotated by David Vine. And I got an extra. is a bookmark. They gave me a little Jean Blake. I was like, oh my God, how did that card get in there? And I was like, no, I've just opened this package. This isn't mine. They've put that in there. So I think I spoke to Jean, because obviously Jean-Claude Flornoy passed away a while ago, but I spoke to his daughter, I believe, maybe, who sold it to me. It's a weird, you have to like submit a form and like email you. It's all very strange, but I haven't read any of these yet, by the way, because I'm really struggling to focus on reading. It's all been about absorbing visual, like learning media and like podcasty learning media. I'm really struggling with the focus to read, but I've been really fine with like watching people's tutorials on YouTube, reading. I've been able to read Serge Pirotte's blog posts because they're quite small, they're quite short and succinct, and I've been able to sort of listen to podcasts because I can listen to those while I'm doing other stuff. But yeah, I haven't read any of them, and I've only had them a couple of weeks. So yes, there's the Seeing the World that came from France, and then I bought another two books. I bought the Tower Di Marseille, which was the translation. Again, this was a French text, because so many of the Marseille books are in French, obviously. So many of the what look to be very interesting Tower Di Marseille videos are in French, again, obviously. I'm like, am I going to have to learn French? But there's the translation. So we have the Paul Marteau book. This is the black and white version. The color version wasn't available to buy. You can buy the colored version from a shop in Sweden, but it would have cost the same price as the book for shipping. And I was like, I'm not, I bought myself a bunch of decks with my Christmas and birthday money, and a full third or just over a third of that money that I spent was just on taxes and shipping fees. So I'm like, ouch. So there's this one, and then I had also ordered, because I saw Marilyn from Tarot Clarity recommend the Cherry Gilchrist book, which had been on my these ones had been on my wish list, but I was like, now is the time to buy them. And then when I saw Marilyn, this was on my list, but I wasn't sure about it because I'd heard mixed reviews. But then Marilyn really bigged this up, and also because it's about the Trumps, right? It's the Triumphs. And now that I've really gotten into reading with the Trumps only, this feels more apt. So those are the three main tarot. I'm just looking to see if I can see any other books. I got a couple of art books, but yeah, no, I think those are the only tarot books. And then Roxanne, yes, it was Roxanne that I spoke to, Masha. Yeah. Oh, she's leaked. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was his partner or his daughter. Love the pun. Majors only is good. Unfortunately, I have to go drive my kids to school. Bye, Melodic. You do the majors. I had the pips. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that, Anna. They'd have to be the same size though, because I want to do my dog lay. If I do it, I would do it. People are going to be asking me about this in 6 months, and I'll be like, I haven't done anything, because this is not me going, that's what I'm going to do. I just had the idea. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I was the kind of person that could follow through on a bloody project and do a Jean de Glay. There we go. Also, I haven't drawn dogs for a while, so I'd have to get my hand back in with the way of like drawing dogs. Because I went through a real phase of like going bonkers drawing dogs. And then a couple of weeks ago, things have been stressful, and out of the blue, I think a friend of mine, they really picked up on the fact that I was just not doing great. And they sent me a lovely little card with a message in it. And there was something else in the package, and this book, Becoming Dangerous, which was a punt on their part, because they were like, I really hope you don't have this book, because it seems like the kind of thing that you would buy and read. And I'm like, it is something I'd buy and read, because this was also on my to buy wish list, my ever expanding, we all have, I'm sure, ever expanding book wish list, right? And it's a number of essays, witchy femmes, queer conjurers, and magical rebels, edited by Katie West and Jasmine Elliott, and the foreword is by Kristen J. Sully and she's the person that wrote Witches, Sluts, Feminists, which I've also read. So yeah, yeah, that's what I've been up to. All the while still doing week ahead readings with Smith-Waite based decks. So it's weird. I'm sort of straddling the two at the moment. But yeah, I've definitely realised that my heart does belong to Marseille and Pip decks for sure. I do love Smith-Waite decks and Smith-Waite art deck. Like they tend to be, there's more going on. There's a lot more variety, and I do enjoy them. But I feel like I go to them I go to the different systems for different reasons, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm basically in like sponge mode again at the moment, where I'm just, I go through those phases. I'll go through a phase where I can't even look at tarot, think about tarot, touch tarot. You know, I went through a real slump at the end of 2019 and into 2020. I even did a live chat with Simon on that one a couple of years ago. So I can go through phases like that. I can go through phases where I'm only interested in like Pips, or I'm only interested in Smith-Waite. I go through phases where I don't want to look at any learning material and I just want to like strip away all the stuff and just go back to basics. And then like now I'm in a sponge phase where I'm just like yum 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 yum, like nomming up all the tasty tarot snacks again, because yeah, it just goes in cycles. I just have to go with it when it strikes that like desire to just absorb information. I just have to go with it because I don't know how long it will last. So let's have a look at one last look at the chat before I bugger off and do some Lunchables. Meow meow meow. It's a wonderful. Oh yeah, I saw that one. I think Tarot Triumphs was my second book in TDM after Yoav's open reading. Yeah, Yoav Bendov's book I've got, and then I think the second one that I got was Untold Tarot, which I started reading after I was part way into Yoav Bendov's book, because Untold Tarot was shorter. It had lots of pretty pictures, and I actually found it a lot. I felt like reading that as a primer really helped me for then going into Yoav Bendov's book. I'm looking over at my bookshelf because I'm looking at what Pip books I've got. So I'm building up quite a collection of Pippy books, and then I've got all my esoteric and sort of hermetic books like the Robert M. Place books and Lord Milo de Kett, and that's more then starting to look at things like the Thoth. I've really fallen off the Thoth wagon for studying because it just got knocked off by Smith-Waite, and then that got knocked off by TDM again. So I just got to go with it. It's just how my brain works. I can't force myself to pivot to something if it's going, look at this over here. I just have to go with it. So it's been productive in some way, but not necessarily in the way that I always want to be. Shauna, my darling, hello. Lovely to see you. Bye, Anna. Have a good day. What day is it? It's Monday. Oh my goodness. I go through phases too when it comes to the systems. Yeah, like I haven't picked up a Lenormand for a while, other than to like put it in a pouch, measure it and put it in a pouch I've made. I go through phases too when it comes to the systems. It seems in Aussie autumn and winter I'm obsessed about Lenormand. Go figure, right? Isn't that funny? I do that too when I don't have brain fog. See, Rona, right? The brain fog. I have this problem where I have a combination of, illness-induced brain fog, but then potential neurodivergent, like, squirrel brain. It's a real, like, head spinner. Okay, so I think that's all of it. I really can't remember if I showed the Pathfinder Oracle in my previous live chat that I did, though. Does anyone else have this deck, and does anyone else read with it in a certain way? I'm still sort of playing with it. And working out. I did loads of like practice layouts and took loads of pictures so that because I wouldn't remember otherwise what I'd done. But it's all freestyle. I haven't like come up with anything with positions really. I guess I could. But yeah, it's fun having a deck that sort of slots together in a different way. It feels like a very summer and autumn deck though, because it's desert based. And the reason I held off getting this for so long was because it's based on those sort of desert landscapes, and that's not something that I live near. I have done road trips through desert landscape in California and Nevada on several occasions, and I have been to the desert areas of Egypt before. So it is a landscape I have experienced in person, but it's not something that I have a sort of real connection to. But actually, what really drew me to this was this whole there's a real, like bison. We don't have bison here in the UK. And there are cooler cards because we do get the desert can get very, very cold. But there's something very sort of, there's lots of elemental, animal. It has a sort of a shamanistic. The one I don't really like this. This feels very 90s artwork. Do people know what I mean? On this one, the person on it feels very 90s artwork. That kind of, you know what I mean, right? There's an actual desert card. But yeah, shamanic is the word I think I'm looking for, Rona. Shamanic. So yeah. Anyway, I think I have talked at you long enough, and I am very thirsty and very warm and getting quite hungry, despite the ginormous almond croissant that I got earlier. The coffee shop around the corner. If you get there early enough, they'll have the vegan pastries because they'll sell out. They don't stock as many of them because they're vegan. So you get there early enough, they'll have the vegan pastries in stock, and they will still be a bit warm. And they're like huge. So that was my like 11's treat that I had this afternoon, this morning. But it's still, despite that, all this talking has made me hungry. It's bedtime for me, says Masha. Thank you so much, Kelly, and everyone, for such a lovely live chat. Of course, I'm always partial towards TDM. So yeah, I would like to film some pre-recorded videos at some point. The problem I'm having is that I've got a lot of sewing to do before my shop restock. My next shop restock is not going ahead when originally planned because today is the beginning of the Etsy strike, which I am taking part in. It's a strike against all of the fee increases, the Star Seller program, which puts unrealistic expectations on sellers, and just so the Etsy fees have almost doubled in the space of 2 or 3 years, especially since 2020. They're basically pandemic profiteering, and those of us that make low volume handmade items, which is what Etsy was originally set up for, are the ones that are getting hammered. And ideally, I would like to have a different platform to sell my pouches on. But Etsy does take care of a lot of the really complicated things. For example, if I sold through a different site, I would probably have to end my sales to the EU because Etsy generates the EU tax codes for sellers, which is and I think that's how they're getting us, right? They're doing stuff that's really helpful, but they're charging us through the nose for it. And the people that benefit are the people that are drop shipping stuff from mass made stuff from like China and other sort of drop ship places, which is really unfair because Etsy are not living up to what their original ethos was. And I know I signed up to Etsy, but I signed up to Etsy back in 2016, and fees were already a bit like, oh, ouch, but they do a lot for you. But the fact that they now have really hiked up their fees, they can charge, with all the fees included, they can take up to 32% of your earnings, which is a lot, right? 32%, because they also include advertising fees that you can't opt out of. They do ads for you, which you can't opt out of, and that's an extra like 15% or 12% or something on top. And then they've got the Star Seller program, and I have been a Star Seller consecutively since last September when they introduced it. I have qualified for the Star Seller program, which is great, but it does put unrealistic expectations on those of us that are literally one person trying to run a business making handmade items. So I am taking part in the Etsy strike. I will be posting about it on my Instagram later today. That's one of my things on my to-do list. So if you are able to take part, if you have an Etsy shop, please do. There's a petition that you can sign as well. Let me see if I can find the petition for people to sign. Let me see. Hang on. I'll find the petition for you to sign. Here's the sign. If you can sign the petition, that would be really great, because what that's going to do is that's going to let Etsy know that both buyers and sellers really don't, you know, because they're squeezing out the handmade and custom made items, and eventually Etsy will just become awash with just mass market drop shipped items, which is just rubbish. I love the meme where someone compares Etsy's performance to the requirements for Star Seller and showing how they fail so dramatically on that front. Yeah, it's really bad. Like, thank you, Kaz, for signing it, and Sam, yeah, I saw that you'd posted as well. Yeah, like, as someone who runs their business on their own, and I'm a chronically ill person with an energy limiting illness, the Star Seller program is really, really stressful. But I feel like I have to jump through those hoops because I'm a very small business and I'm still trying to like build up my, you know, I'm trying to work out what other things I want to offer in my shop. And, you know, I still think like I'm a low volume seller. Everything I make is handmade from beginning to end, from scratch, like nothing and I've had to put up my prices. And even then, I was going to put my prices up in May and in April anyway, because it was a new tax year. I had been undercharging, and the price of everything is going up in the UK this month. You know, our fuel prices are more than doubling here in the UK. It's a real crisis that we're going through at the moment. Everyone is just struggling. Well, a lot of people are struggling. Thank you, Shauna. And so I was like, right, I'm going to have to put my prices up because I am undercharging and every price of everything's going up. And then Etsy emailed and said, oh, by the way, we're putting all our fees up. So then I'm like, well, I've just put up, you know, so even though I've put my fees up with the cost of living inflating and with the Etsy fees, that bit that I was increasing for actually charging for the amount of effort that goes into every single thing that I make is minimal. Just like, I can't win. You know, I'm saying that, like, I see people that make things that are machine sewn or that are more easily, like, there are shops that started way later than mine did that have like 3 or 4 times the sales that I do because they are able to produce their items at a higher volume and are therefore able to make more sales, and yet their items are around the same price as mine, which is fine, right? But I think I don't know if it's just but I don't know if my prices. I don't know if I can bring myself to put the prices up even more at the moment because I'm aware that also everyone else is struggling. It's just a really tricky situation. I mean, who knows? At the end, it might not matter because I feel like we're in the penultimate season of humanity. So 10 years' time, we'll probably be living in a Mad Max dystopian nightmare. So who will be even caring about my pouches? No one. So, yeah, that's the thing. The Etsy alternative, Brian, is the problem with I won't be able to then sell like my sales to the EU. I won't be able to then sell like my sales to the EU have cut dramatically since a load of taxes were introduced last year and a load of Brexit red tape. So they've already Brexit has already minimized, cut a bunch of my sales off already. But if I move to another platform, I'm going to have to completely nix the EU orders because the faff of trying to generate my own IOSS tax number and all the stuff that goes with that and all the paperwork that goes with that makes it really complicated. So this is how Etsy, I think, are like still managing to get people on the treadmill. But the fact that they are just constantly constantly putting their fees up, and they're putting in all these, you know, programs, and they're putting in all these like things that you can't even opt out of that they're charging you for. It's really just, it's messed up. So I feel like if I got to a point where my shop was successful enough, because it also drives traffic, right? I don't know if my shop would survive if it was just on its own little lonesome island. Successful enough because it also drives traffic, right? I don't know if my shop would survive if it was just on its own little lonesome island of a website. You know, there's the other thing where people search Etsy. People that don't know my channel have bought pouches because they've found it via Etsy. You know, and then I've had people message me going, oh, I bought one of your pouches. I didn't realize you had a channel. And I'm like, oh, wow. So that proves that Etsy has brought some people my way. And I'm at that point. This is, they get you in a bind, right? You know, who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line, places like Shopify or Squarespace or what have you, Wix, will be able to have that system in place that Etsy does, where it will generate EU codes and all that kind of stuff. But at the moment, and that side of stuff, I really struggle with as it is. Like anyway, like my brain is just not wired that way. So maybe somewhere down the line, but I'm not at that point where, you know, saying the same thing twice. Am I? See, yeah, Elizabeth is saying any Etsy replacement would have to accommodate the EU and UK tax VAT. I'm in Canada and have an Etsy shop solely so I can send to EU and UK. Ah, there we go. Unless maybe that's what I do eventually in the longer run. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it this year or maybe even next year, is have just EU. But then that's the thing. How do I manage that? If I've got the same pouches in each shop, how does that work, right? Because all of my stuff is handmade one-of-a-kind items. So I'd have to just have separate pouches listed, and it's hoping that the Europeans, like the EU customers, like the pouches that I've got in the Etsy shop as opposed to my personal, like, anyway, this is a whole, like, I don't know, headache-inducing pain in the butt. I watch you don't burn out, Kelly. Slow and steady. Yes, my words, one of my words for the year, gentleness. The other one, consistency. Slow and steady wins the race. Yes, and that's the thing. That's why I'm doing this 3-week. Other than this, my next shop update will be, I believe it will be the 24th, Sunday, the 24th of April, and then it will go back to every 3 weeks. And I'm going to see how that works for me. Because I've done every week, that's too much. I've done every other week, that's too much. So now I'm doing every 3 weeks. And if I struggle with that, then I'll just go to like the first Sunday of the month. And then people always know, oh, it's the first Sunday of the month. So we're just going to, I'm playing it by ear. This year is very much, this year and next year, I feel like it's all just slowly working out how I'm running things, what I want to be offering the shop, expanding the range of pouches and the type of pouches that I'm offering, but also providing things like handmade, hand-stitched beaded jewelry, and like more spread cloths and more sort of witchy bits and things like that. Like this jewelry, this pendant has a pocket in the back, and you can put in your lucky items. You could carry a sigil. You could wear this during the day, or you could wear it for like, you know, for a ritual. This, I've done it in a very sort of, made this around Valentine's Day. So obviously it's very sort of pink and hearty. And it was like a self-love thing. So I made this for myself, and I can put like crystals or sigils or anything like that. But I thought it'd be cool to do, you know, various shapes and colors and sizes and pouches and things like that. It's really pretty. I love it. I've hand embroidery, hand beaded, hand sequined. So, Linda, hello, son of a gun. I'm just saying, where has Kelly been? And now I've missed so much. Well, good morning to all from Chicago. So happy to see you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, inventory management is there with multiple platforms. Yeah, or is that a mare? So, yeah, Elizabeth, I think it's just, I'll figure something out eventually. I just need to find my feet with my business first because, you know, I'm looking at these forbidden candies. I got some dice arrived this morning for my new character. I'm going to be playing Call of Cthulhu for the first time in a couple of weeks. And it's set in 1885. So I've been creating my character, and I ordered some dice to match her outfit. So, and they glow in the dark, but they look like sweeties. It's making me hungry. That's so exciting. Forward to seeing the new things. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to be dropping things slowly but surely. So in the next drop, there's going to be the standard sized pouches, the standard plus size pouches, and then there's going to be like the Normans, True Heart Intuitive, Kawaii, like mass market. Like there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on there. I've made tarot pouches I've made a tarot pouch for the pattern for the anniversary edition, the 25th anniversary edition of the Enchanted Tarot. I did my own copy, and it came out. This was one of the patterns I didn't have to tweak because this is a very large deck, as you can see. So this will be, you know, this one, to people will know, because this comes in a really awkward box. And someone asked me, I'd been thinking about it, and then a customer who's bought from me before, she was like, would you ever make any for this deck? And I was like, I was literally thinking about this yesterday, and now you've asked about it today. It's kismet, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. So this was my practice run, so I made it to match because this deck is massive. So yeah, there's going to be more specific sizes, and then there'll be, you know, I'll start getting a bit of double pouches. That was the other thing that's coming in the next shop drop as well, finally. And then I'll just try to slowly add stuff in, you know, more spread cloths, bits of jewelry, but rather than just the fun little bits of jewelry that I was doing before, which is what I used to sell before I started making the pouches, I will be doing more sort of ritualistic, sort of magical jewelry type things, I think. Anyway, wow. Linda says, by the way, absolutely adore my pouch. Yay! I am glad. So I need to go eat something. I'm going to go make myself a vegan bacon sandwich, toasty or grilled sandwich, I guess you call them in the States. And I'm going to go drink some more water because I'm so flushed. I'm so pink. But thank you so much to everyone that joined me today. Yeah, it's been a while. But as you can see, I have been balls deep in tarot stuff. I have actually been like on it like a carb on it. And yeah, it was really difficult to film when I was having so much building work being done. Like you can't film when there's like literal constant hammering and drilling and people stomping across the roof of the dormer and stuff. It was very loud. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of Monday, whatever's left of it for those of you in Australia and New Zealand. Enjoy the rest of your week because it is Monday. So yeah, let's hope that this week goes well for you all. Stay safe, and yeah, I will see you in my next one whenever that is. Hopefully it'll be a pre-recorded one. We'll see. Take care all, and ciao.